Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we've got Josh.
Hey.
It's the week of WrestleMania Backlash. I know I said I wouldn't refer to it like that, but it gets one. At the top of the show, it gets referred to by its full name. And now it shall be known as Backlash going forward. At the point of recording, we got 6 matches on the card. We got 2 world title matches, 2 women's world title matches, a tag match, and a Lumberjack match. I'm going to open the floor. What match do you want to start with our conversation on?
Let's get probably the least consequential match out of the way. The Smackdown Women's Championship.
Okay. SmackDown Women's Championship, Bianca Belair having won it at WrestleMania on her defense here against Bayley, who's coming off rubbing legends the wrong way at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Bayley has been a great heel, and as we said before, is a great starting spot for Bianca to come out at the start of her reign against.
So we're giving Bayley absolutely no chance here.
No, because she just got the title. If Bianca held the title for a little while, I could see it, but no. I don't see her having much of a chance.
Okay. I hope we make similar comments later on in the night when we talk about Raw, but I definitely agree with you when it comes to the blue brand here. Bianca Belair is coming hot off WrestleMania. It would be really strange to have her drop the title to Bayley here. Bayley and Bianca are going to put on an amazing match. Great starter, as we keep saying. And look forward to seeing what they can pull off. It's not going to hurt Bayley a huge amount losing here, but it can definitely start building Bianca Belair as this front of the SmackDown Women's division. But maybe it is time for a shake-up. We'll stay in the women's division. We'll jump over to Raw. We'll talk about the red brand. Rhea Ripley, similar story, coming off WrestleMania, coming in hot up with a victory, brand new championship, going up against Asuka, who lost at WrestleMania, and also the third competitor, Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, it's very fair. I do think that because Rhea is not only such a young champion, but only been a champion for a month, I don't think it would be wise to pull the title off her this quickly. So I think Asuka takes the fall here, and Charlotte continues feuding with Rhea going on.
I really do hope this is a double retention for both of the women's champions. But the bigger question for me around this Raw women's division, and I guess specifically this match, is that there is a big cloud hanging over it. And that cloud is called Alexa Bliss. Because we still don't quite really know what her motivations are at the moment. She's seemingly targeting everyone and anyone on the Raw Women's division, and I believe targeted specifically Shayna Baszler this week, making her act like a voodoo doll of sorts.
Yeah, so I definitely could see down the road a clash between our champion Rhea and our resident crazy lady Alexa Bliss, but which is saying something when you have Nikki Cross in the division.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's possible, but we really don't know much, and I think as we've said, we're way too early into Rhea Ripley's reign to really say, is it a good idea to pull the title off her?
So if we take Rhea Bliss and we put it to the side for a second and we look at maybe the other competitors in the match, do we think Alexa Bliss is going to have any sort of implication into either of these, whether that be making it so they lose or just playing a role in this match at all, whether that be Asuka or Charlotte?
I kind of think that they're going to keep away from that. If Alexa has anything to do with the match, it'll be in the post-match.
Okay.
The afterwards. And that's assuming, say, Rhea does the unthinkable and pins Charlotte. All right.
The unthinkable.
I always said it's unthinkable because I don't think they want to go there yet. I think they would like to do that maybe the next pay-per-view. Give Rhea her win back from last year, but in a one-on-one match.
Yeah.
I think that's why Asuka is in this match. She's in this match for the same reason Daniel Bryan was in the triple threat match at WrestleMania.
How'd that go? um,
Exactly as we expected, only they added another pair of shoulders.
Yeah, I definitely think if you look at these three, Ripley Asuka was the feud coming into it, but I definitely agree that Ripley Flair is the feud going out of it. So Asuka will be the one that is going to be falling out of this feud, per se, unless they decide to stick around and have one more sort of Asuka singles match, maybe on a Raw, before fully committing to the Ripley Flair program. But that definitely seems to be, where we're full steam ahead heading towards, is that Rhea Charlotte. Will she get her win back, or will Charlotte be the queen of the division once again? Kind of storyline. Looking at the time, we've got time. Let's talk about the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. We got quite a few tag teams on SmackDown at the moment, vying for relevancy in this division. The Dirty Dogs, Ziggler and Rude, been holding the titles for quite a while now, and putting them up. But sometimes I do forget who the champion of the division is. But this specific night at Backlash, they will be going up against Rey and Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, jeez. Well, what I want to see happen is the Mysterios win.
That usually means that you're about to say, but what I see happening is...
But at this point, because we've kept picking against them, and they now apparently have a tag team name that they haven't had before. Screw it. Ziggler and Rude retain.
We're gonna go see how long their title reign is, because it feels like it's been a while now. 123 days. They won it in January. So just coming up on 4 months now. You got to ask the question though, right? Sooner or later, Ziggler and Rude are going to have to drop the titles. They've beaten almost every team on SmackDown, including, I'm pretty sure, the Mysterios at least once. We need the new combinations of bodies and the new combinations of matches. Why not the Mysterios? If they're going to have to drop the title.
Yeah, that's what I want. But oftentimes what we want and what we get are two very different things.
Are we trying to Murphy's Law here? We pick the team we don't want to win, just so Murphy screws us over and picks the one we want? In which case, I'm definitely down for a Ziggler and Rude win. But yeah, the SmackDown Tag Team division needs something to happen to it. I don't quite know what it is just yet. I think SmackDown as a whole needs a little something to happen to it. Not saying that the 2-hour show is bad or anything, but we're starting to run dry potentially on a couple matchups here and there. So we'll see what happens with the women's and the tag team division on SmackDown. What are we? We're 10 minutes in. We can fit one more match. Let's fit in everything that's not a male world title match. There's a Lumberjack match. It's Damian Priest. It's The Miz, the two of them blowing off their Bad Bunny match at WrestleMania, but in a singles match. Oh, Lumberjack singles match.
Yes, this should be interesting. Obviously now it's just a singles match instead of a tag team match. So,
it's kind of hard because there's been a lot of focus on Damian, right? So. Your head goes immediately to, Damian Priest will just win this, but they've also put out Miz documentaries, and there's been quite a bit of focus on Miz as well. And, you got this looming Maurice return. Maybe there's going to be something happening between Miz and Morrison eventually. Are they going to just jetpack Damian Priest up the card into that upper mid-card with a win here? Or is this just going to be a comedy segment where it's just going to be a comedy lumberjack match and there's going to be no real consequence between the two of them? And we just don't quite know really where they're positioning Damian Priest on the card, and we don't know what they plan to do with The Miz after this feud.
Yeah, this is pretty much about further elevating Priest. That's pretty much the extent of this. Because now Priest will have gone over a 2-time WWE champion by winning here. And The Miz could probably take some time off.
Yeah, it's definitely possible that The Miz might. I don't know. We had all of this stuff lining up for WrestleMania with Bad Bunny, with the four of them. And then now it's just it's kind of what our Backlash is, right? It's that sort of aftershock. It's just let's wrap up stuff with a neat bow. And I think that's all this match is going to be. Not ragging on the two people in the match. The match itself, I'm sure, will be absolutely fine. But it'll just be wrapping up the Priest, Miz Morrison, Bad Bunny stuff with a bow. And there's going to have to be some pretty big shenanigans for Damian Priest to not walk out with the victory. But you never know. Alrighty, well, we're going to go into our entrance theme of the week. About an hour and a half before recording, AEW Dynamite was airing. Main event was Darby Allin versus Miro, formerly known as Rusev, for the TNT Championship. And at the end of that match, despite Darby Allin and Sting's best attempts, the winner was none other than Miro, and as such, we will be congratulating him by playing his entrance theme for you right about now.
Miro.
And you're back with Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. We still have 2 more matches left on our Backlash preview. The 2 world title matches. Which one you want to hit first?
Let's do the WWE Championship one.
Bobby Lashley defending against Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman in a triple threat match.
Is there any better way of making the almighty WWE Champion look even more of an almighty than taking down Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman?
Yeah, I think we've gone like Drew. If Drew was going to win this back off of Bobby, it would have been at WrestleMania. As much as I'll sit here and go, Drew McIntyre's my guy, he's gonna win every match. If Drew was going to win the WWE Championship, it would have been at WrestleMania, and as such, I have to rule him out here as a chance to win. And that leaves you with Lashley and Strowman, and honestly, all aboard the Lashley train. Not the Strowman Express, the Lashley train. The train of the Almighty. The Almighty, I can't think of another word for train other than Express. Choo-choo. Ultimately, I have to back Bobby Lashley. He is still a relatively fresh champion coming into this. He only took it off of Miz just before WrestleMania, so month and a half off the top of my head here. Braun Strowman, he had a match with Shane McMahon, but I would be very surprised if Braun Strowman walked out with the WWE Championship just from where he's been prior to this match. And yeah, as I said, if Drew was going to win, he would have won at WrestleMania, so it's got to be Lashley, right?
Yeah.
He's the only possible outcome.
Yeah, Bobby Lashley needs to retain here. So yeah, definitely, absolutely have to in order to continue his run. But then it's going to become a question of who can then take down our almighty champion.
Which I guess is the question we sort of had for Drew McIntyre when he was running around with the WWE Championship around his waist, and we eventually got our answer with Bobby losing the United States title and moving up in the space of 24 hours. He went from mid-card champion to serious world title contender. And yeah, I guess you gotta take a look around and see who could potentially challenge him. Like, if we were looking 6 months ago at this, and you said Roman Reigns is your Universal Champion, if we're going to jump over to the other match, I wouldn't have guessed Cesaro was going to get a shot at him.
No, but they were starting to hint towards it around February, so it's not that far-fetched. Cesaro definitely, I think, has earned a main event title match. And I think he will definitely give Roman one of his toughest matches he's had as champion. And that's saying something considering some of the people that Roman has faced. I do think that the Usos do play a major role in Roman retaining in this match, which will also continue the feud, which will keep Cesaro, at least for another pay-per-view, in the limelight.
Yeah, I guess when we look at this, on paper, the match is Roman Reigns versus Cesaro. But we've had some really cool segments on Smackdown recently where Seth Rollins is seemingly, just after we had our whole piece on the show where we were like, they won't cross paths for a while. Seth Rollins steps into the office of the tribal chief and sort of treated like an equal with Roman Reigns. For the first time in a while, Reigns wasn't really treating many people like equals here. And they did a little piece, and then Cesaro ended up beating Seth Rollins. That's how we've ended up with this match. But that's just another card or another thing that could play a factor into this match.
Yeah, it's definitely possible Seth Rollins gets involved, but I definitely think they brought Jimmy back for a reason.
Well, then the question is, because he's still not wanting to join in. He's not wanting to play ball. And obviously we've got Smackdown this week that we're not going to be able to see before making these predictions. But you think Jimmy gets on board the train?
Honestly, I think it may be that he's just buying his time. I think around SummerSlam, which would be about a year for Reigns as champion, I think that's when the head of the table gets his head taken off. And that will also allow whoever the Money in the Bank briefcase holder is to take said title from Reigns. And that protects Reigns from the loss because of the betrayal.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where we're going here. And then after that, it'll be Reigns versus the Usos as a pair to get their freedom, which they will eventually earn.
Yeah, I think there's so many feuds and things baked into here, and as you say, it might just be a case of how long until Jimmy jumps on board. I'm sick of train metaphors. Jumps on board the bus, and goes along with this Roman Reigns stuff, at least for the short term until SummerSlam. We don't quite know how all the chess pieces are going to fall into play with this match, but I would be very shocked if bell to bell Roman Reigns and Cesaro were the only two competitors involved in this match. There has to be someone.
Yeah, and it almost has to be the Usos that get involved, unless your crazy theory about Seth comes true.
It's just crazy enough, okay?
Well, crazier things have happened.
That's very true. If you told me... By the way, this is a bad segue, but we're moving away from Backlash now for the last, 8 minutes of the show. If you told me that Austin Theory was going to go one-on-one with Karrion Kross, I wouldn't have believed you. That's some pretty crazy stuff.
It went about as well as we expected.
Which you mean amazing, right?
Yeah, he got 2 moves in, and the rest of the match was just him running until his eventual destruction.
Yeah.
More importantly, Finn Balor says we're getting an NXT Championship match soon.
So we'll see Balor Kross continue on down the line. But yeah, it definitely wasn't the best night for the way in terms of Austin Theory and Johnny Gargano. A little bit of a rough one for sure.
Yeah. It was announced that Gargano will be defending his championship next week against Bronson Reed, and then attacked Bronson Reed, and that match is now a steel cage match.
Look, it's funny when bad things happen to the way. You just gotta laugh.
Yeah, I think the colossal Bronson Reed is actually going to win the title next week.
What?
Yeah.
What? You're giving me something here? You're letting me have it?
Yeah. The size of Reed is the kind of size that can actually negate the Way's numbers, especially with the fact that they just killed Austin Theory. I don't see the women getting involved enough, especially with a steel cage match, to really help the champion Gargano enough to keep his title.
That's fair. It'll definitely be interesting to see next week. When we're trying to talk about Backlash results and stuff, and we're trying to fit everything else in. We will make a mention, definitely, if Bronson Reed wins, what happens in that feud. So I'm definitely interested. And fingers crossed. I'll always hope that Bronson picks up the win and we get a little bit of something for him. But sticking on the gold brand, I don't know, yellow brand, we got a return and we got some debuts, formal debuts. We saw Bobby Fish show up and walk off. Said hello to Kyle O'Reilly, and they were like, "We got our own stuff to deal with. See you later." Just to sort of tick that last box of the Undisputed Era stuff. There will be no, at the moment, Redragon team formation.
Yeah, it's definitely a moment, though, because Bobby Fish is the one person in that entire group that was like never really got a moment of his own. Because you had Strong that was a North American champion. You had the powerhouse being Cole and his multiple title reigns. You had O'Reilly and his like matches with Finn and his solo stuff that he was doing when Bobby Fish was injured. So I'm kind of interested in seeing what they do with Bobby Fish here, because he is a bit of a fresh angle that you do stuff with, and it still wouldn't hurt O'Reilly or anybody else, just slide him into storylines and stuff.
Yeah.
So
we'll have to see how the whole Bobby Fish stuff sort of lays out. Because at the moment, the whole Undisputed Era exploding, Cole's still exploded. Roderick Strong has seemingly walked off. Kyle O'Reilly is going about it himself at the moment. We don't really know what the future holds for any of these former Undisputed Era guys, so we'll have to keep an eye on everything that the Undisputed Era are doing. And if the Undisputed Era just exploded, then forming together out of, I don't know, the leftover particles in the universe. I don't know how physics works. Okay, I failed that class. We have Hit Row, a new stable brought together by Isaiah Swerve Scott. And he's brought along some friends, and they seem to be staking a claim to NXT. And it'll be interesting to see what they can pull off, because NXT's done pretty well with these small little groups. We got Legado del Fantasma. We had the Undisputed Era until they exploded. We've got The Way, and now we've got Hit Row. We got quite a few sort of 3 or 4 member teams floating around. Some of them with women, some of them without, of which Hit Row does have. Don't know quite what's in Swerve Scott's future, but I know that he's an amazing wrestler, so if these other 3 can pull off anything close to him, we should be good.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting in seeing how this all plays out as far as that group goes. But it also is starting to get into territory of maybe we have too many groups in the NXT, because that's a problem that's occurring in the other company.
Hey, we just blew up the Undisputed Era. We can form a new one now.
Yeah.
So, 1 for 1.
Yeah, so I'm a little concerned about that direction, but at the same time I'm interested because I like Swerve Scott. I'm more interested in the stuff that Cameron Grimes is doing with Ted DiBiase, though.
Yeah, I just don't know where that's heading. I'm pretty sure that's just comedy segments off the end of the show, right? Like, they're doing amazing comedy segments, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's going to lead anywhere.
It might not, but Cameron Grimes is, I think, having a blast at the moment, and that is getting him over. Um, and you know what? I would have no problem if they did make him in the next $1 Million Man type character, because I think he's having fun with this.
Yeah. It's always something, NXT's on. What's Cameron Grimes going to do this week? And what's Ted DiBiase going to screw him out of this week? Typically. So yeah, it's a fun one to watch. If you're only going to be sitting around watching the highlights on YouTube, I suggest watching the Cameron Grimes segments usually. They have been pretty darn sports entertaining lately. And that's the name of the game.
Yep.
Alrighty, well, we've just run out of time for this week. It's been great talking to you.
Bye, B.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRND Up, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRND Up, or our YouTube page, which has our entire back catalogue of shows, youtube.com/WrestlingRND Up. And we'll see you next week with the results from Backlash.